What's up, y'all? Chris Lotus here, and SNK is being funny again. Bad, oh bad, but you know what? Seeing that the funny stuff actually has to do with City of the Wolves, I actually love it. If you hear some rattling in the back, that's my fan. I would cut it off, but I am not about to turn my freaking room into a sauna over this. But anyways, so before I get to talking about what funny stuff SNK did this time, which threw off my itinerary, I want to clarify some things because I made a mistake with my City of the Wolves prediction because I realized I haven't done a prediction series, at least like to this degree, in a while. Like the only other one that I've actually really done far as like trying to predict a roster was KOF 15, and I have many more subs now than I did back when I was doing that series. So a couple of people might not be familiar with what it is that I do when it comes to these predictions and pretty much what I do and what I don't do. Because usually I don't worry about the DLC all that much just because it's just kind of a personal thing. And on top of that, as you can see in the title here, this particular part of my City of the Wolves predictions is labeled Part 2.5. What that basically means, because I did do this in my King of Fighters 15 predictions, is I am going to be addressing the roster because new information has been provided to us, but there may be very few to no actual predictions or additions to the board. Like, whenever I do like 2.5 or like a half episode or whatnot, it's just because some really interesting info has been provided and I do want to talk about it, and I might happen upon something, so I may apply something to the board, things of that matter. Just to clarify, that's all. Now with this first point, it seems like it was a correction, because before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to Renz on Twitter /X gon' give it to you. I get a lot of my news and like very interesting pieces of information from Renz as well. And of course, Onyxe Blade, who always tips me off about interesting things concerning fighting games that I can make content about. Shout outs to everybody that does it. But I do want to zero in on this when it comes to what Renz posted, because here a lot of people noticed that there was a little bit of a contradiction with this particular piece of information. So if you look here on Renz's post first, apparently it seemed like SNK had hinted at a bonus character. Just reading the image, yes, there are 17 characters at launch, but 6 more will be added as downloadable characters for a total of 23 characters available in Season 1. That right there. Now, if you look at the date of this post, it was September 28, 2024. At the time I'm recording this, the date that I'm recording this video is the 8th of October, and when we look over at 4gamer.net, it seems like that error was fixed. And I even checked, if you go back, and let's not translate it because of course the translation is rough, the original, no sign of the number 23 anywhere. It's been adjusted down to 22, which is what we were told in the original announcement. So a lot of people were wondering about that, and some people even made the inference that perhaps, and it's so funny because if you look right below here, there is of course Oda being asked about Cristiano Ronaldo, who we know in some form or capacity is going to be involved in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. So some people were thinking that maybe he might be an extra character or something. But seeing now that that particular botch, I guess, has been fixed, it does make me wonder, yet again, what is going to be his role in this game. Again, I don't know that much about him. I'm not really into football like that type of football or American football, so all I just know is that he's well known. So initially, like when I saw that people were talking about this little snafu, I was gonna speculate like who this possibly could be. I mean, an extra bonus character, like an unlockable one, that's pretty cool. And I mean, SNK has done it, especially like notably with the likes of Samurai Showdown. And of course, we got bonus characters, like free boss characters like with Rugal and Genitz. So yeah, I think that would be kind of cool, but I think that particular error has been adjusted, so I don't know, because it doesn't seem like anything particularly lost in translation. I mean, sure, you know, translations and like apps that do so might have some rough differences. Like for instance, in Renz's post, Oda says yes, but then like on this particular version here that I have before me, it says that's right, but those mean the exact same thing. The second thing I want to address is the next sentence in that particular segment, where SNK has revealed, and I quote from Oda, "At the moment we have plans from there until season 3. 3 freaking seasons." Before I go on and get into speculating things here, once again, thank you SNK for saying something. Again, I've said it before, this is turning out to be the most ambitious fighting game that SNK has put out in a while. Like, maybe, or perhaps like, I might have not paid attention to too many like DLC news or information in the beginning of a game's run unless it's just right there out the gate. But confirming 3 seasons of DLC though? That's nice. That's nice. So, and another thing that I might have not mentioned when it comes to these half episodes that I talk about, one other thing that I'll be doing in these types of videos is I'll mostly be asking questions. Like sometimes I might have a little something as far as like a prediction, but again, the only reason that I have called this episode 2.5 is because I'm not going to be making a lot of predictions, but there is new information to consider. With that being said, one thing I have in my mind is we see how season 1 is set up and it's basically packaged with the game, which by the way, also, the fact that SNK revealed some DLC before revealing the full-on City of the Wolves roster in this case, kind of forced my hand to actually talk about the DLC pass. Just saying. But before I get to that, is every season going to have the same amount of characters? 5 per each is not really that bad. That means like if they do go with that, it's going to be 15 characters up to the point of season 3. And if this game takes off, I could see it going to like a season 4 possibly. But that's one question I have. I don't know if like some seasons might be larger or smaller than others, because I know that sometimes happens. I mean, SNK did kind of switch it up with King of Fighters, but King of Fighters is a team game, and I feel like they could kind of get away with that, obviously, given the format, even though to me that was still kind of weird. But I am curious about that. Like, how big is every season going to be? Is it going to be all 5s? Is it going to be like 5-6-5, 5-5-7, something like that? Because I know that even though we're just focused on Fatal Fury in this case, there is some crossover here. We have some shared universes. So, again, we could possibly see a more mature Yuri in this case. All types of possibilities. But yeah, all in all, I am happy that they have confirmed 3 seasons right off the jump. So, something that I mentioned in my last video talking about City of the Wolves, which of course was Ken and Chun-Li's reveal, I agree with a lot of people that had said beforehand they felt like we were going to get Kim's sons as the 2 characters that are being revealed around the same time. Because I mean, again, we see these characters as pretty much being inseparable. Like, why would you have one without the other? Do I think they're still going to be in this game? Yes, absolutely. But I do have my doubts that they'll be in this season, because I just don't know about one being released at one point, then having to wait some time for the other. Again, it could still happen. It could still happen. Like, I mean, hey, they'll be in the same season. But then again, like an example that I mentioned last time, the Kazama brothers and Samsho, those 2 have that whole notion or that concept of why have one and not the other, and they were in separate seasons. I feel like they did that more so because I remember in a poll that SNK did in Route 2 Samurai Showdown, it showed that Kazuki was more popular than Sogetsu, even though I'm more of a Sogetsu fan myself personally. So who knows? I honestly don't know. And it's so crazy because I indirectly was kind of predicting some DLC when I was cutting characters from my main roster. And now, even with that, it's like, okay, like, is anybody from this little batch of characters here possibly gonna be in this pass? Now, I still stand by what I said. I think SNK is going to pull a KOF 14 with this, and Mary is not going to be main roster. Mary is going to be DLC. That's my prediction. I don't want it to be that way. I have to emphasize that. That is not what I want. I would like for Mary to be main roster. And I mean the actual starting main roster. I do not care, for the umpteenth time, I do not care that SNK packaged the freaking first season of DLC with the version of the game that most of us are going to buy. There is not a standalone version without the DLC. The version with the DLC is going to be the one that most people are going to buy. The fact that that DLC, sure, it's packaged in there, you don't have to worry about, do I want to buy it separately? Do I want to buy the whole pass or whatnot? It's packaged with the game. Even with that, you're still going to have to wait for those characters to come out sometime after the game comes out. Ergo, not technically starting/main roster. Okay? I'm so sick and tired of people trying to play that technicality with me. Like, no. Starting roster is the start of the game's lifespan, the start of the game's run. With that being said, I think Mary should be on the starting roster, but I don't think SNK is going to do it in this case, and that's just given a lot of the hints that we've been given from them. And I don't see anything outside of that one random post that was posted on Twitter that points at her inclusion in this game. And on top of that, SNK knows how popular Mary is, so of course SNK sees her as easy money far as like getting it from us. Of course it is. It's free money. And I still stand by what I said by that, even in terms of Yamazaki. I feel like we are about to get a three-peat with Yamazaki, far as like the last couple of SNK games, not counting Samurai Showdown, obviously. 15 he was DLC, 14 he was DLC. I think we're gonna get a three-peat here. Same thing I said about Mary. They know how popular this guy is, so why not put him there? Guaranteed popular characters. Like, I do not like this. Those of you that have been watching me for a minute know that I cannot stand when the same character is DLC in back-to-back games, especially if they know for a fact that the character is popular. Because it almost kind of seems like you're mocking us or just insulting our intelligence. It's like, come on, we know what's up. Free money. Do I think they would be in this pass? Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, at this point, maybe I need to sit down and make like a DLC prediction now. Like I'm pretty much done, and I think I have my main roster prediction set in stone. So maybe I should. Now that SNK has confirmed 3 freaking seasons of DLC, why not, I guess? Let me know if you want me to do that. I mean, I might end up doing it, but yeah. But anyways, there's that. Last thing I want to talk about actually doesn't have too much to do with any prediction in particular. It's just something that I wanted to address a little bit. I mean, I could have made a separate video about this, but I just figured I've already talked about them a little bit or mentioned them, so why not, I guess, tack this on at the end. But I've seen some people that are critical of the fact that they picked Ken and CHUN-LI for a couple of reasons. Some people, again, are just tired of the guest character trend, which, I mean, hey, fair play to you. I'm not saying you gotta like every guest character out there. I personally don't have an issue with them, honestly, especially in the case of this one, seeing that with SNK and Capcom doing a full-on character exchange, possibly, just possibly, I'm not getting too hyperbolic with it or anything, but I feel like the percentage and the chances of a CVS 3 coming in the near future has gone up some more. And then some people just do not like the fact that Ken and CHUN-LI got picked. Now, I mentioned in the last video, I'm cool with this. Would I have liked to have seen more of a surprise character like Cody or Guy or Sakura, Ibuki, Makoto? Like, yeah, obviously. Like, people love these characters, and I mean, they're kind of unexpected when you think about it. But at the same time, Ken, CHUN-LI are the more marketable choices. A lot of people don't like that word marketable, and the funny thing about it is, to their credit, this is naturally where I would say, hey, you do understand that CHUN-LI and Ken are DLC here. So in other words, people have to buy them. They're not like just on the main roster off jump. But this is where that whole packaging deal with SNK, far as like the way the version that most of us are going to buy of this game, which is like the real standard, it's basically the actual standard edition now. But now, seeing that they're packaged together, I don't really think that particular point is relevant. So, I mean, maybe you could argue that they could have picked someone other than those two, but again, I like this choice because, again, I suspected they were gonna go the super safe route and pick Ryu. And I felt like Capcom was going to continue the Luke push. But nope, Ken and Chun-Li, and I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with that. And I mean, obviously, if you take a closer look at things when it comes to like all these characters, and I'm pretty sure it's mentioned in that interview that they did, those two are basically rivals to two of the most popular characters that are already on the City of the Wolves roster. And I'm looking forward just to seeing how they play in this game. Like, I mean, obviously, seeing that I love the aesthetic that City of the Wolves has, I can't wait to see that. I would imagine that seeing that they have their Street Fighter 6 artwork there, I would assume they're going to go with a variation of that, which I hope they do that as opposed to just bringing back the classics. They just can't let go of their nostalgia, so I mean, come on, like getting their classic outfits, whether it comes packaged with them or it's an unlockable or something, like it's kind of simple. There's the way to really do that. Like have both in there, everybody's cool. But I don't know, with the whole my costume controversy, who knows what's gonna happen at this point. But me, I'm just hoping for the Street Fighter 6 costumes they have in the City of the Wolves style. And of course, I'd love to see how they function in this game. Like, what is their SPG going to be? I can't wait to see. But yeah, again, those two are not obscure, like super obscure. Who the hell are these types of characters? It's freaking Ken. Lots of people love Ken. And it's Chun, the first lady of Street Fighter, so it's a no-brainer. And I mean, on top of that, I like the fact that they were able to get a guest appearance without having to have Ryu there. Nothing against Ryu, but it's like, it almost seemed like a must. Wherever Capcom crossed over with fighting games, he had to be there. And I mean, it makes sense, it's freaking Ryu. But I'm glad in this case that it's the other two members of the Street Fighter Big Three. And again, a lot of people enjoy how Ken plays in Street Fighter 6. I love the stance mechanic that Chun has. Like, that character was so much fun to play. But yeah, that's basically the long and short of what I have for this one. Let me know what you think about all this. What do you think about SNK announcing 3 seasons of DLC off the jump? And who do you think is going to be amongst the DLC? You have any ideas of who might be in what season? And also let me know how hype you are about Chun-Li and Ken. Super hype? Not really? Not at all? Drop a comment, and until next time, I am the Chris Lotus, signing off. You all take care of yourselves, be safe out there, be cool to each other, and stay cool by staying hydrated in the heat. See ya.